Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you might be. Welcome. This is Mark Peacock, Chief Marketing and Communication Officer at LinkSpring. In this, the first in a webinar series entitled LinkSpring Presents, we dive into a discussion with ACI, a LinkSpring ancillary products partner since 2005, on the importance of integrating sensors into building systems and how they are an integral element of today's smarter building deployments. In addition, we will look at ACI's latest product portfolio. ACI is an industry leader in the development, manufacturing, and distribution of sensors for the built environment. Their comprehensive portfolio includes temperature sensors, relative humidity sensors, current sensors, pressure sensors, gas sensors, and wireless sensors. Let's couple housekeeping rules to note. We are recording this and we'll make this available later on. And if you have questions, feel free to use the chat section. So again, let's advance the slide, please, Angela. So as I mentioned, in addition to myself, I'd like to welcome Barry Gordon, who is the Senior National Sales Engineer at ACI, who is going to provide us with some additional insight and an overview of ACI's latest products available through LinkSpring. Next slide. So I'm going to get us started with just kind of setting the stage for sensors in general and the marketplace. So the built environment continues to be transformed by the adoption of modern operating platforms and devices for smarter building operations and management. Existing advancements in connectivity, advancing protocols, and the proliferation of sensors help provide tangible outcomes to building owners and operators. Sensors, as we all know, are not new to the built environment. They've been around for quite some time. Presently, there are a lot of advances taking place within sensors. Advances such as wireless expansion, as well as the types of sensors now are available, improvements in accuracy and increased modularity, all of which are enabling us to enter a whole new sensor world within our buildings. With sensors, we can discover many incredible details, especially when we analyze the different data points together. They are now everywhere within our facilities. They measure just about everything, including temperature, humidity, pressure, occupancy, air quality, airflow, voltage, current, water, mechanical, and so forth and so on. Next slide, please. The sensor market within the built environment is expected to grow from roughly $37 billion, which was estimated last year, 2020, to in excess of $87 billion in 2025, which translates to a CAGR of around 19%. Very, very solid growth. Next slide. So what's really driving this growth? Well, there's a number of drivers as LinkSpring and ACI look at it. So first and foremost, I think we would be remiss if we didn't talk about all the post-COVID activities and things like that, which are occurring now within our built environment. The quest to provide healthy and safe workplaces, the continued digital transformation movement occurring within the building environment, the new government initiatives that are beginning to take form and out there, the growing demand for energy management and sustainability initiatives. My favorite, data, 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 and more data. Data is everywhere, and we all know that part of today's value propositions is the access and the use of data. And then the increasing cost saving needs of building owners and operators. Next slide. So in summing up, sensors have a great purpose. It's hard to overstate the impact of them and the data they collect in the commercial building environment. They are creating new efficiencies that positively impact how buildings and facilities are managed and operated. They offer clear value and are leading us to evolve new practices for using them to enhance the performance, efficiency, occupant wellness, and satisfaction within the buildings and facilities. And another one is to meet compliance requirements and to manage risk. So with that in mind, I'm going to go ahead and turn it back over to Barry. And Barry, take it away, please.
All right. Thank you very much, Mark. I appreciate the introduction. And is everyone able to see my screen? Should have the ACI logo, Automation Components, Inc., Engineering a Better Sensor Solution?
We can.
All right. So as Mark had mentioned, we are a partner with Linkspring for over 15 years. ACI has been manufacturing sensors since April 1st of 1991. So just over 30 years. I will be celebrating my 28th year anniversary here in a few short months. So number 6 here at ACI, we have about 250 employees now. So it's been a fun company to grow with, and my son actually works here too, so we're getting into the second generation, which is really cool. We are a 9001 certified company. That question gets asked a lot, and if anybody's been a part of that, you know how much fun that is with all the paperwork and certification that goes along with that. One of the first products that ACI started making back in 1991 was temperature sensors. I'm not going to go into all the applications, you can read them there, but obviously our products are going into the commercial space. We do probably 95% commercial applications for building automation or DDC, a couple percent of residential, more larger homes, obviously that would be using a DDC or BAS system. And then we do some light industrial. So this is a snapshot showing some of our temperature sensors, duct mount immersion, outside air, strap on, our button sensors, which is a kind of cool way to remote sense and kind of conceal that temperature sensor in a space. Some of our different room enclosure options. We manufacture not only thermistors, but we also get involved with a 1000 ohm platinum RTDs, some 100 ohm RTDs, and obviously the transmitters that go with the platinum RTDs. The TT is a temperature transmitter in our part number. The TTM would be a matched set. So you would have a pair of a sensor and a transmitter together, manufactured together and calibrated together, and that would come with a NIST certification. So I know that gets asked a lot. We can pretty much NIST anything that we manufacture. So keep that in mind. It's coming up more and more with the clean air environments. We also get involved with averaging. A lot of people don't know this, but we can actually make averaging sensors all the way up to 100 feet in length. Now our standard lengths are 8, 12, and 24 foot, but for copper thermistor averaging, we can do up to 50 foot, and platinum RTD averaging, we can go all the way up to 100 feet in lengths. We do also manufacture flexible averaging, as shown there on the right side, and that is standard lengths of 8, 12, and 24 feet. And on the far right is our rigid averaging sensor. That's basically a stainless steel probe, obviously not bendable, but we can do that all the way up to 4 feet in length. Some of the different enclosures are shown here too. The bell box enclosure on the left, the galvanized duct, and the plastic box. A lot of other people don't understand this either, but maybe we don't market it as such, but we do manufacture freezer sensors. Obviously, with the vaccine, that freezer sensor has increased a lot in the last 2 years. So all the vaccines obviously need to be cold, stored in cold, I think -80 degrees C temperatures. Our freezer sensors go down to -200 degrees C. So that product right there in the top left has really increased as far as productivity and sales in the last couple of years. And it comes with the glycol bottles too. It's basically a thermal buffer. So when you're opening and closing the freezer doors, it doesn't set an alarm. It'll take a couple minutes if it's dampered by the glycol or glass bead solution that the sensor goes into that bottle and secures to. Pipe mount sensors, bullet probes. We also get involved with hazardous applications. So keep us in mind for that as well. So I just like to show that slide there just for kind of outside of the box type of, it's not that your standard temperature sensing. So we do get involved with other areas. Some of the sensors that we manufacture left to right, again, RTDs, thermistors, the matched transmitters, and we even do some semiconductors. These are all, if anybody has been in the business for several years like myself, all these sensors, the controllers out in the marketplace take different inputs. Based on the temperature sensor, we can make a sensor that is matched up to that control input. Platinum RTDs are a linear curve. Thermistors are more of a bell curve or non-temperature NTC, negative temperature coefficient. So as the temperature rises, the resistance goes down. The transmitters can only be paired with the RTDs, the 100 ohm and 1000 ohm on the top left there can be used in our transmitter boards. Just that question gets asked quite often as well. So here's how we actually assemble the probe thermistors and RTDs. When we first started ACI, I remember in the back actually hand soldering these leads onto the lead wires. And a lot of times, you know, you have to have a 800-degree tip, and not knowing to us, the thermistors were only rated up to about 400 degrees. So we would damage a lot of sensors, and a lot of times we wouldn't catch it until it was in the field. So we had a bit of a learning curve in the earlier years at ACI. We have since, what we think perfected it, and how we feel that we are better than the others in the marketplace is we actually crimp that on there now. So there's no thermal transfer or heat transfer at all in the process of concealing that thermistor lead to the lead wire. So we crimp it the first day, and then that night, we actually encapsulate that into a plastic tube. And we let that seal overnight. So it's like a viscosity of like Elmer school glue, and then it hardens overnight. And then the next day, we actually take that plastic tube that's encapsulated with thermal transfer compound, and we encapsulate it again into a stainless steel sheath and completely fill that sheath up. So the biggest thing is, as we all know, electronics do not bode very well with water. You get electronics wet, more times than not, it's going to fail. So that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to ensure that sensor to be protected in moisture. And in environments, you know, when it's really hot or really cold or a fluctuation of temperature, it causes condensation that could possibly get into the probe and damage it. So the way we manufacture this product, we feel is how we kind of differentiate from the other competitors that are doing the same thing. So that kind of goes into the product category of temperature. We also started after temperature manufacturing relative humidity sensors. Again, the different applications are shown there. One really cool thing that we do is we offer a humidity sensor that goes all the way down to 1% accuracy. Again, that is NIST certified. Some of our more standard accuracies are 5% and 3%, and 2% get ordered as well. We have a selectable dip switch, selectable right on the circuit board, analog output of 4 to 20, 0 to 5, or 0 to 10. We also have a 24 volts AC or 24 volts DC input. So a lot of our competitors, you can only order a DC with a 4 to 20 or an AC with a 0 to 5 or 0 to 10. Ours is kind of a la carte. It's jumper selectable, all one unit. You don't have to order a specific input or output. We spec some of the lowest drift in the industry, less than 2% over 5 years, which is pretty darn good, pretty tight. We are the only one that offers field calibration or validation right on the circuit board using the dip switches on our sensor itself. All of other competitors do not have this function or feature. You would actually have to do the offset back at the control system, and depending where that is in the application or the space, or in the building, that could be difficult at times. So keep that in mind. Obviously output protected, like I'd mentioned, And it is available in a combination unit. So it's not just humidity. We can offer temperature sensor in there, so you can have a temperature and CO or humidity sensor in the same enclosure. We have since added CO2 to this. I'll have to update that slide. We use a capacitive polymer-based sensing element. Some of our competitors use a resistive element, and the difference there is a capacitor element, if you get it completely saturated or 100% RH, which sometimes spaces can get to that, it actually comes back to life. A resistive type sensor will not. It'll fail in the field if it gets higher than about 90% humidity. So that's the reason that we use a capacitive based sensing element. We offer it in wall mount with a display, washdown areas, remote probes, duct, and outdoor air. I mentioned the NIST certificates, that it's available in a 1, 3, or 5 point. And like all of the sensors that we manufacture here at our facilities in Middleton, Wisconsin, they come with a 5-year warranty of the entire product. Here are some other slides showing the different enclosure options for our relative humidity sensors. And you guys have probably seen these in the marketplace, but I always like to just show our product off a little bit more in these slideshows. Another thing that I feel we do different than our competitors is we do not batch test. We don't batch test maybe say 1 out of 100 sensors. I've worked in the back here. I go to the back in the production facility here from time to time throughout the day. These people that work at ACI actually hand touch every single one of these products. We manufacture it by putting together first, testing it, putting in the calibration chamber. Every single one of these products is tested and calibrated before it gets shipped out to ensure that it's working properly. Again, some different mounting options. The Touch 2 is a temperature and humidity wall mount unit that can be displayed both temperature and humidity if you would like. It also has set point functions for temperature and relative humidity and fan speed control. We offer a sun shield for outdoor air sensors. We offer a stainless plate for washdown applications. About 2 years ago, we started manufacturing BACnet and Modbus style analog and resistive of what we've done for probably 27, 28 years. The last couple of years, we've added the BACnet and Modbus line. Same temperature and relative humidity enclosure options. It just offers, again, that communicating output. What customers like about this is it's very easily accessible dip switches to set the address or baud rates. And it actually has a status LED, so you know that it's actually working and connected to the BACnet or Modbus line. We then started manufacturing pressure sensors probably 15 years ago. We get involved with both dry and wet applications. The DLP here is our bread and butter for dry differential pressure transmitter applications. What customers like about this is it is a 0.1 to 40 inch jumper selectable, everything in one device. So we have the high and low barb fittings, and we also have a duct pitot tube and a DIN rail all on the enclosure. We own this enclosure. It's completely screwless. You do not have any tools at all to get into this device. Press fit enclosure side tab, optional display. When we came out with this unit, we wanted to be twice as accurate as our competitor in the marketplace. They have a 1% accuracy. We came out with a 0.5% as our standard, and we can get as low as 0.25% accuracy if needed. And we do have a NIST certificate available as well. So like the DLP, we offer the MLP too. Not universal or jumper selectable pressure ranges or outputs or inputs. Basically, this is what you get. So if you order a 0 to 1 inch with a 4 to 20, that is what you get. You do not have any jumper selectability. Now we do have bidirectional and unidirectional ranges on each of them. It does have the auto 0 push button in the front and a depluggable terminal block on the top. But as you can see, it does have the mounting feet or a DIN rail to mount it properly in the field. Same type of sensor, so a 0.5% accuracy as our standard. and a 0.25% optional. Ranges are the same as the DLP, 0.1 to 40 inch. Again, MLP2 not selectable. Pressure ranges, outputs, or inputs. The DLP, shown in the previous slide here, was completely field selectable. So those are the transmitters or analog outputs. We also have pressure switches. So basically it comes to a, a specific inch of water column. You want that relay to switch. The AFSs are a little bit tricky in the field to know where that actual trip point is. We came out with a DBL, and what customers like about this is it actually has an arrow pointed to the, in a screw, a knob, so to speak, that you can adjust that trip point at, and that arrow will show the exact inch of water column where you want to trip that relay. Plastic enclosure on the DBL, metal enclosure on the AFS. High and low barbs showing on both. Here are the different pickup ports that go along with the pressure sensors for dry side. You can use them with the DLP, the MLP2s, the DBLs, or the AFSs. It's just an easier way to or a cleaner way to dress up the wall plates or the room enclosures. It's a little pressure port in there behind the enclosure itself versus running the tubing into a drop ceiling and just simply putting it into the top of the ceiling. You can actually put these on the wall. Now, if you're doing differential air, so the outdoor versus the indoor pressure, you can use our outdoor horizontal or outside vertical mounting feature product as well. Again, we have a 5-year warranty on all these devices. We do sell the poly tubing as well, up to 100 feet in length. Other optional pitot tubes or pickup ports that we can use for these for static or velocity or duct. Just another mounting feature that could be used on the high-low barbs of the actual transmitter or switch itself, being connected to tubes together. Excuse me. So that covers the dry side of pressure. We also have the wet side of pressure, or even line pressure for gauge pressure transducers or our pressure GP unit. We can go as low as 15 PSI and as high as 500 PSI. It's actually, we can go, I got to update this slide. We can go, I think, as low as 3 PSI and up to 1500 now. But depending on, if it's refrigerant or steam line, we do have the GP harness. It's a Packard type fitting, so you do have a depluggable wire harness that goes onto these, and if you want it to NEMA 4 enclosure, you can actually put this sensor inside of that, as shown here in the top right. Different wire harnesses, 2 foot is kind of the standard. We can go up to 40 foot in length if needed. We do have all the snubbers and pigtail siphons available as well for those different applications needing that. Also, a product that we started manufacturing probably about 10 years ago is our WPR2 series. What customers like about this is it has the remote sensors. A lot of our competitors have a sensor that it is mounted right on the enclosure itself. So what that means is in the application, you have to run tubing from the pump or whatever you're monitoring, plumbing, tubing, copper line, to each of the sensors, the high and the low. With our unit, you don't have to have plumbing at all. You simply deplug the Packard fitting, put one on the supply, one sensor on the return, hook up the wiring, mount the unit, and it shows right away on the display the supply pressure, the return pressure, and on the top of the display, the differential pressure. So now that comes with or without a display option. 3 selectable pressure ranges. We have one unit that's a 30 PSI unit, so that's 0, 10, 20, and 30. A 100 PSI unit, so you can jump or select 0, 25, 50, 75, and 100. And the 300 is 0, 100, 200, 300 PSI. We also added a couple years ago the metal clad cable. Customers were complaining in certain applications it was code that there were no exposed wires. It had to be run through conduit. So we came out with a metal clad cable to address that code violation. So customers have used that when that specific code is in effect, and that is that is being used in those applications for that. We do also ship these with the snubbers, just to protect the sensor on startup and shutdown for high proof pressure on the lines. Started manufacturing current sensors and switches about 10 years ago. Switches here showing as far as go, no go, or adjustable. We also have on the larger units that are rated up to 250 amps an analog output version. So we can do 0 to 5, 0 to 10, or 4 to 20. We do have the minis that are rated up to 150 amps, and all the UL rated agencies and compliance are listed there. Now on the miniature style, that is switches only, and on the larger style, it's switches and sensors. So this is a DIN rail mounting feature on the larger units. They have the mounting feet on both the minis and larger units as well. All 5-year warranty on all the products that we manufacture again. Recently, we came out with power meters or kilowatt hour meters. We have 3 devices shown here. The KW350 is a 0.5% accuracy unit. The KW320 is kind of the all-in-one and a 0.2% accuracy unit. The KW350 is probably your best option in our marketplace where you're needing just BACnet or Modbus MSTP. If you're needing IP, that would be the KW320. Now the 1850, that is a multi-circuit monitor. So that can do 18 single phase or 6 3-phase. The other 2 will do 3-phase power monitoring. We do have revenue grades available. That comes up quite often. And as everybody likes, the Rogowski coils are used. They're the rope coils that are flexible CTs. Or we have the other plastic CTs that go with power monitors too. So very new product for us, starting to really hit the marketplace, and we've had great success. People are loving them. Again, 5-year warranty on this product line. Gas detection sensors we've done for over 20 years. CO2 being the #1 in the space. We do a lot of parking garages, CO or NO2. We have a combination CO and NO2 sensors. We have these on the shelf ready to ship same day. Very competitively priced products. We have any combustible and toxic gas detection sensor that is needed in any type of application. So please reach out to us at any time if you're getting involved with those applications. We have analog or BACnet style gas detection sensors as well. And I wouldn't be afraid of it if people have kind of steered away from it, saying, no, we don't want to get involved with life safety. Give us a call. For no additional fee, we'll offer the support. We'll give us the blueprints of the plan. We'll put in we'll lay out the project for you. We'll put where we feel the sensors would work best in the application. We'll give you a parts list, your cost, everything. Don't be afraid. We will hold your hand through the entire process and work up schematics with no additional cost to the customer. So definitely reach out to us if you get involved with gas detection or want to get involved. We're here for you. And another thing that we had just started about a year ago is we're offering factory certified gas detection training online here at ACI. So that comes up a lot with commissioning. A lot of people have to use a third-party commissioning agent if you're not factory certified to do so. So we definitely do that, and that is no cost as well. So wanted to mention that. This is more of our parking garage style application, the sensors and the controllers that go with them. The Q5 and B5 is the single standalone. The Q6, B6 is that combination CO main, and then NO2 as the remote or any other style of combustible or toxic. The M controller is 32 input, and that offers about, I think, 95% of the applications customers use that. The Q controller is the mother load. That's the, I think, 124 different inputs on that guy. And we do have all the strobes and horns that go with these applications that are needed too. The QIRF there, the QIRF is actually our Freon or our refrigerant leak detector. The only one in the marketplace that you actually are able to select on board what Freon you want to sense. So say you have an R22 chiller, use an R22 Freon, you order that QIRF set up for an R22 from ACI. You get it and they changed out the chiller and now all of a sudden it's 134A. You take the the pen that's magnetic that comes with the unit. You go into the front keypad, you select R134A, click enter, and you're sensing 134A now. No other Freon or refrigerant sensor in the marketplace offers that flexibility. Excuse me. So we do offer explosion-proof models, as shown on the far right there as well. So if you get involved with those type of applications, again, please reach out to us. We'll hold your hand and help you out with any gas detection application out there. I'd mentioned CO2 sensors on the far left, the T-Sense on the top left. That is our CO2 temperature and relative humidity. You can get that with or without the display. The CO2 room, the bottom left, that's just our standard CO2 sensor that does have a thermistor or RTD output available with a combination unit too, CO2 duct. And what we got involved with since COVID or the pandemic is VOC, volatile organic compounds, or PM, particulate matter style sensors. So keep us in mind if you have applications for them. Again, 5-year warranty on all these devices. And we're actually specifying a 15-year maintenance-free life expectancy. Available with temperature, like I mentioned, the combination that also has the temp set point and override too if needed. Another slideshow showing specifically the VOC and the particulate matter sensor. We are seeing a lot of these that are going into spaces so customers or tenants know that the air is clean, and also a lot of that's the VOC room, and a lot of them PM duct sensors are used for a lot of the wildfires that are going on out west. So you'll mount this in the duct and it will prevent that smoky air being brought in because of this sensor will sense that and not let the fresh air intake from the outside come in if it is at a certain level. Interface devices. We acquired a company called Advanced Control Technologies about 25 years ago. We were their largest customer and they wanted to get out of the business and go into lighting, so we acquired this line. What I like to tell customers about this line is they actually had this product offering manufactured by a board house in China. So we went in China and looked at their board house and their facilities over there, and it did not meet our expectations. So we moved that entire line over to Middleton, Wisconsin, where all of our other sensors are made. And we have this specific line made here, right here in America, and we're very proud of that. It doesn't happen enough, and I just like to tell all the customers that we did that. And these are basically signal converter cards. So if you have an analog input and you need a pneumatic output, we can do that with this. It comes up a lot with, there's so many pneumatic systems that have been installed over the years, and you get a new controller and all those valves and actuators in the building have a pneumatic output. Now, what do you do with that controller now that only has an analog input? That's easy. Put in the PXP or the EPC that converts that pneumatic output on that valve or actuator to an analog signal, and the new controller that you put in will easily intertwine with that, saving the building owner and the contractor and users lots of time for a very small fee. Mark mentioned wireless. We get involved with temperature and humidity wireless sensing, obviously battery powered. It's a 900 megahertz spread spectrum technology. Very good transmission signals within buildings. We have a white paper that we did for a university out in New York, Stony Brook. We have 58 different buildings talking wirelessly with temperature and humidity sensors. Stony Brook is a very old university, so you're talking very old buildings with very thick walls, and we have, like I said, almost 60 buildings talking to each other. So if you ever want to look at our white paper, it's on our website, workaci.com, and I'd be glad to take on any project with our wireless sensors. Don't be afraid of them as well. We would be able to take your blueprints, again, walk over any plans that you have, show you where we would feel the best places would be for the sensors and repeaters and end modules. This end module converts that wireless signal to an analog output, a LAN output, a BACnet output, or a Modbus, whatever you would choose. Some different accessories we get involved with for different applications out there listed. FreeStats. We have an entire FreeStat line now, 6, 10, 20, and 50-foot capillary links. Power supplies, the PS24 is used in every application out there. It's an AC to DC converter power supply, 24 volts AC input, adjustable 1.2 to 27 volts DC output. Duct smoke detectors, we offer them as well. We have relays, mounting plates, thermal oil shown here, glycol bottles I mentioned for freezer style or walk-in cooler applications to use for thermal buffers, and many more products. If you're not seeing it in our catalog or on our website and you think, gosh, maybe ACI can build that for us, give us a call. Chances are we built it for another customer and we have it available. We literally have about 15,000 SKUs, and we do not catalog every product. Our catalog would be about 6 inches thick. So it's very, very, very competitively priced product. We American made products, and I would really appreciate any opportunity you and the others could pass along to Linkspring and ACI. We ship over 1 million products annually. We have the lowest return rate of any sensor manufacturer. We have a board in the back. We have it displayed on every single TV in our production facility. We're proud of it. We just went back there today. It was at 0.03% return rate. And keep in mind, that's not just failures on returns. That's could be ordered wrong, could be a wrong color. So that all is added into that. Dedicated support team from 7 to 5:30. Give us a call, shoot me an email. We're available for you. We're here to help you guys out. That completes my PowerPoint presentation. Thank you very much, guys, for coming to it today. Appreciate it.
Great, great. Thanks, Barry. A couple questions here, and
Absolutely.
You and I can answer this. So you mentioned the fact that your products are manufactured in the U.S. Are all of them, and do they all qualify, or just some would qualify for made in USA?
I would say about 95%. We do buy and resell some products, Mark. Every single product on our data sheet, it'll have a made in USA if it is in fact made by us, and it'll have an American flag on it. So that will, fall under that umbrella. Ones that don't, do not.
Okay, cool. All right. Another question is that we are just getting started in utilizing sensors and offering solutions to our customers. This is from somebody online.
Okay.
What do you suggest? What are the most commonly used sensors that we should be proactively suggesting?
It depends on the application, Mark, and what they're doing, what their target audience is. If it's commercial space, obviously all of them. I mean, seriously, any building automation system or DD system, and we can, break out and have a conversation with them anytime, or I could come and meet with them in person and show them our offering, and go to a commercial space and show them, all the sensors that go into making a building, safer and cleaner air. And, it's so much that goes into it. That's every single sensor we manufacture goes into the commercial space. It really does. I mean, temperature sensing, humidity sensing, pressure sensing, current sensor, monitoring of power, gas detection. It really, every single product we manufacture goes into the building. So.
And I think, you mentioned that's some good points there, especially addressing the new healthier, safer type buildings in which, occupancy, temperature, air particles, all those that you mentioned, plus, others that are really addressing the needs to create that safer, healthier building as a result of COVID. This question here is, I really like this one. So can you guys suggest or talk about some best practices for choosing sensors? So I'm going to start, and then I'll let you, since you're the expert, I'm the novice, I'll give you the novice view, and Barry, you come in with the expert view. So again, for me, if I'm doing this, some best practices is first, define what I'm trying to accomplish, first and foremost. Second would be, I would want to define what is going to be sensed, or what data am I trying to obtain. Third would be, what type of metrics, what kind of metrics do I really want to care about, or am I trying to utilize the sensors to deliver for me or for me to put together. Fourth is, how or will the sensors connect with other systems across within my building, and so forth and so on, and how am I going to do that? And then two more would be, where am I going to put these sensors? Are there constraints? What am I up against as far as being able to install those? Is it going to be wired, wireless, so forth and so on? And then I guess my last to this question would be, are there any lessons learned from previous installs or opportunities working with buildings that I've learned that I should take into account? So that's kind of my view on it. Barry, anything to add differently?
Yeah,
suggest?
I guess when I got the question asked from you, Mark, I immediately went to, a different view, like flexibility. I mean, look at the way the product's manufactured. Is it, something that's easily breakable, or is it built pretty well where it's going to last a long time? There's a reason we offer a 5-year warranty. It's because we know our products last a long time. The stability, I kind of went over that in how we manufacture and how we build our products, how we feel we are better than the rest, because I think we really are. I mean, I've seen our competitors' products. I'm not here to show everybody and tell everybody how less of a product there are, but I feel we are the best. I'm going to tout HCI because I feel we are the best and built the best, and we manufacture and test every single product here. The flexibility, you can put one of our sensors, so to speak, like a pressure sensor, a DLP, for any application out there. You can have a 0 to 10 inch sensor that's jumper selectable, 1, 2, 5, and 10 inches of water column. The flexibility of that product for a service guy that can use that in any application out there, whether it be static pressure, duct, or differential. I mean, that's the things that we've learned over the years is listening to the end users and the guys that are actually installing these in the field. The ease of installation and the selectability, the universality of our products. That's what I would look at. And I mentioned accuracies. We're twice as accurate in almost all of our products versus our competitors. Long-term stability, hysteresis. You look at our products, I really truly feel it's the best bang for the buck in the industry. American made, you mentioned that. We're proud of that. We've been making sensors here in Middleton since '91, 30 years, quality products. Engineering support staff, we have 12 engineers that work right here at our facilities. We do not farm anything out.
And I think that's an excellent point, especially today with the flooding of the market, the sensor market. The fact that it's, made here, made in the U.S., the years and years of reliability of the products, the brand name, ACI, so forth and so on. So I think that makes a lot of difference. And, the fact that you've been in business for all these years and you're not just in today, gone tomorrow type thing, which I think, we're beginning to see now in the sensor market. So with respect to timing, I think we're just about out of time. And Barry, on behalf of myself and everyone at LinkSpring, thank you. Thank you so much for the many years of a fantastic partnership. We are looking forward to continuing to work with you. And thanks to all the attendees for joining us today. And we look forward to our next LinkSpring Presents webinar, which you'll get notification. And if you've got questions on the ACI sensors, our business development team and our orders team are here to assist, and so is Barry. So everybody, thank you. Have a wonderful day and see you next time.
Thank you, everyone.